Canadian explorer is Alexander Mackenzie. Andrew Mackenzie is a fashion designer. I thought it was very important, he said, to come to the place where Islam began. Our third story in the countdown, the new American president explaining why he felt it necessary to travel to Saudi Arabia today, not to impose democracy on an entire region, not to remake a Middle East in his own image, not to reinforce his family's personal relationship with that nation's oil barons. Something new. President Obama today arriving in Riyadh, his first visit to Saudi Arabia, home to 15 of the 19 September 11th hijackers. The president seeking the counsel of King Abdullah as he puts the finishing touches on the speech he will give tomorrow in Cairo about the U.S. relationship with followers of Islam. Osama bin Laden responding by releasing what appears to be a new audio recording in which he threatens America, accuses President Obama of being no different towards Muslims than was his predecessor, Mr. Bush. Quote, Obama has followed the footsteps of his predecessor in increasing animosity towards Muslims and increasing enemy fighters and establishing long-term wars. The American people should get ready to reap the fruits of what the leaders of the White House have planted throughout the coming years and decades. White House Press Secretary Gibbs, briefing in Riyadh, dismissed the distraction.
I don't think it's surprising that al-Qaeda would want to shift attention away from the president's historic efforts and continued efforts to reach out and have an open dialogue with the Muslim world.
And now to call in our own political analyst, Richard Wolff, author of the new book, Renegade, The Making of a President. Richard, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
Should anybody be surprised that this president's attempting to bridge this divide with the Muslim world by, of all things, talking to them?
Yeah, if anyone's surprised, they were probably sleeping for the last 2 years. I mean, this is a candidate who said that he would talk to the North Koreans and the Iranians. Why wouldn't he talk to regular Muslim people around the world? And I've seen the criticism from the right. Apparently, the last 8 years were really successful in terms of winning hearts and minds among Muslims, and there's no need to do anything but bomb the hell out of them. If people don't want to win the battle for public opinion in the Muslim world, then they can retrench and retreat behind their borders and, I guess, forget the pictures of President Bush holding hands with the Saudi king at his ranch and pretend that there was another world.
To help him with his foreign policy goals, obviously, the president had chosen Hillary Clinton, then Senator Clinton, to be Secretary of State. And in your new book, you wrote that remarkably he made this choice before the heated fight for the Democratic nomination was even over. Let me quote it exactly. The person most positive about Hillary Clinton was Barack, said one senior Obama aide. He always said she's smart, she's very talented, and obviously a woman with her own following. Obama was willing to leave the primaries behind, including his own strong feelings at the time. Was there blowback from his staff about that? Did anybody say, yeah, but what about political grudges?
Yeah, they did, and not just his staff. The rancor and bitterness was there on both sides, as I report out in the book. Even in the transition period. So this is a lot later than he made his decision. People were saying, oh, don't worry, Hillary Clinton's over the primaries. And he said, believe me, she's not over it yet. And he's talking about himself, too. To set this aside as early as he did, he told me in the Oval Office, it was before the primaries ended, it is an extraordinary way of him doing that forward thinking, that strategic thinking that really separates it from the rest of the crowd. And it's not like the personal rivalries aren't there. They are, by all accounts, working exceptionally well together. But among those staffers around them and supporters and friends, those memories have not gone away.
There's a lot of great substance in the book, and there's also little pinpoints of less deep, but certainly no less well-known events that were critical to this campaign. That catchphrase, that signature of the 2008 campaign, the phrase, yes, we can, almost never happened. The chief speechwriter didn't like it.
That's right. They were toying around with ideas, phrases in the couple of days before New Hampshire, that big New Hampshire speech. And the speechwriter, young guy, Jon Favreau, tremendously talented, someone said to him, yes, we can. That's a great phrase. The candidate, then Senator Obama, had used it in a debate. He said, why don't we use that? And Favreau said, because I don't want people to go chant, yes, we can, which is exactly what they did. And in fact, will.i.am did it, and, it was a pick-me-up. I think now, looking back, Favreau might say it was a good speech. In fact, people around him said it was his best speech, but he didn't want to do it.
Another great moment in this, the then Senator Obama response to the selection of Governor Palin as McCain's running mate. Again, to quote your book, it was basically sort of a Hail Mary pass. Obama told me on his campaign plane as the polls turned back in his favor. They were just flailing. It was sort of like, you've got to do something. It's about a year ago now, a Republican said to me, look, if at convention time McCain sees he's down, likely to lose 1, 2, 3 points, he'll go safe. It'll be Tim Pawlenty. Maybe on a whim it would be Tom Ridge. But if it's 4, 5, 6, he's going to use, and the exact phrase the guy used was, throw a Hail Mary, Sarah Palin. I mean, you've written about how Obama reacted, but did he see it coming? Was it a complete surprise to him?
Oh, they were surprised, and they didn't really know how to react on the day. There was disdain. They had to recalibrate that. It was too rude in public, and they had to be a bit more respectful. The interesting thing, as I point out in the book, is that Sarah Palin was a huge help to the Obama campaign because people got so panicked and so terrified that the campaign raised $25 million on the back of her that paid for a ton of ads, positive ads and negative ads, paid for that 30-minute primetime show. She was a big help to Obama in the end.
I can see your show from my house. Finally, we have already talked this week about the fact that it was, in fact, Mr. Obama's idea that you should write this book. Has he read it? Has he read it yet?
You know, I don't know that he has. I'm told that they have these very long flights to the Middle East, and they need something to kill the time with. So ask me in a few days.
Well, to that point in a moment. Richard Wolff, the new book is Renegade, The Making of a President. Great thanks as always for your time, my friend, and great luck with this book.
Many thanks, Keith.